Hello. It is October. I don't even know if I said that yet, but I have so much footage to upload. But it's October. Happy October. It's October 1st. And, oh, wait. I'm setting up my phone thingy so I can set this up for y'all real quick. All right, so y'all, my hair don't want to let me be great right now. This is so crazy. It's just time for me to take this hair down. I've had it for a month now. This install. So it's October 4th, and September was definitely a September to remember. So much happened in September. um, and I would say it was so good. It was refreshing. It was renewing, transforming. So, it was definitely a September to remember. And I think when we set, what I've learned from September is like when we set up these expectations in our minds, right? And then, but when we set these expectations, we set them for such big things that we forget about the little things in our life that we don't see as big, that is life changing. And it was definitely a September to remember. Um, and I proclaimed that, like, so first of all, August, we were sick. So I don't know which previous video um, it was, but I talked about in August how my husband and I, we got really sick. And I do believe that we had COVID or some form of it, because it didn't get really, really, really bad, like where we had to go to the hospital or we were hospitalized or anything like that. But we both were really sick. So you can go back and watch that video, because I kind of talk about how it was eye-opening for us. And you know, we haven't lost anyone personally to COVID close to us, but you know, we've watched it for the past year now, 2 years. I mean, we're coming up on almost a 2-year mark of when COVID really started, and it really started February 2020. And I'll never forget, because I had my last daughter in February last year, 2020, and it was like, am I running out of space on this phone? I don't know, y'all. My phone just like stopped recording, so if it does it again, I'll know that I'm running out of space on my phone. But it just stopped recording this phone. I don't know. I got a new phone, and I just upgraded my old phone from the old S21 with T-Mobile to the new S21 with Verizon. And I don't know, this one does a lot of weird things. It kind of makes me want to go back to my old phone, but just take it to Verizon. But anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so a couple weeks after COVID happened, I mean, once COVID really picked up, like, and it was becoming a U.S., like, worldwide thing for us, it was a couple weeks after I had my daughter in February. So I took them back to school for like probably 2 weeks maybe, and then they were out for pretty much for the rest of the year in the summer. And then they did go back in September. I sent them back. They went back to school because school had opened back up. And yeah, so yeah, anyway, it's not about COVID, but I do feel like me and my husband had some form of COVID in August, and we were really, really, really sick, like really sick. I mean, that's the worst I had ever been So, and my husband had it worse than me. So you can go back and watch that video. But that was a very eye-opening video, and it really just showed, how much God's grace was really on us, because we live in Georgia. So we don't have any family here to say, okay, can you get our kids while we recover from this, while we quarantine or anything like that. So y'all, it was the grace of God, literally. This thing just went on the ad. Oh. It was the grace of God, literally the grace of God. Like my husband and I, we were like that for like 2 weeks. Very bad for 2 weeks. And honestly, I don't know if it was me who brought something home. I don't know. Like, usually me and my husband, we go everywhere together. So only other places I was really going without him in August was to some of my daughter's appointments. He started going to the doctor with me after that, but I went to mostly all of my appointments by myself because it was summertime. School hadn't started yet. So I knew I went to the hairdresser in August, and that morning I woke up, I felt scratchy, like my throat felt scratchy, and I felt like I was kind of starting to feel a little bad. And by the I thought I was okay, but I kept trying to tell myself, like, I'm not getting sick, I'm okay, and stuff like that. So then the next day came, and I think that was a Wednesday. So I think the next day I was out. Like, I thought I had the flu. So I was laying down all day Wednesday. And then by Friday, my husband was feeling it. And he went from like 0 to 10 in a couple days. Not even a couple days. Like, he was bad. My husband was worse than me. And usually my husband doesn't get sick. If he does, he may get a runny nose, a cold here and there, and he'll be doing that all around the house. All of that. But he was down. He was down. So he was worse than me. So it's a recap, but we both had to push through. Like, we didn't have no strength of our own to do anything. It was nobody but God. I mean, even to push through and get up and, send our kids to school still for those 2 weeks and take care of them and feed them. And like, we couldn't really go out of the house. Like, we couldn't really get in the car and go anywhere. And, yeah, so no, we did not go get tested for COVID. I don't want to. And I was believing God for healing, and we're not vaccinated, and that's our choice, and we have our choices. So we just needed the grace of God for that. Our children did not get sick. Now my baby, she was sick before us for like 2 weeks, really bad. I mean, she was down, but we thought she had like a bad case of the flu. Like, she wasn't eating, she was drinking, she wasn't eating, she was breathing really hard. So I think the last day or so of her being sick, we that's when I was telling my husband to take her to the doctor, because before we got sick, we were still taking our kids and stuff to the park, but we were also not doing. It was just a busy month. Like, y'all, I don't know. Like, it was a really busy month, like, for us. Now that I go back and think about it, like, she was really down for 2 weeks, and I do not like to see my kids sick at all. Like, they might be busy and stuff and kind of drive us up the wall every day, but no mom likes to see their kids sick. So when any of my kids are down, it just doesn't feel normal in the house. So when she went down, she was really bad, and then she started to breathe really deeply, and we didn't have like an asthma pump for her, like, to just give her some, help her out. And yeah, then after that, it was us. So imagine us being home with her while ushering the other 3 off to school, trying to push through and take care of them. Nobody knew. And we even pushed through, and like, for the first week, we didn't take our 4, well, she's 5. We didn't take Aria to gym. We just couldn't. But y'all, the grace of God, my husband literally thought he was dying. Like, he thought he was dying. He was starting to talk in that way, like, what are y'all gonna do if I die? You're gonna move back to Florida? you know, what are you going to do? Like, he started to talk about death because he thought he was dying. I didn't feel that way. I felt horrible, but I didn't feel that way. My husband literally thought he was dying. He had a lot of things going on with him. So, with just the grace of God. So, that's why I say, like, September, I say all of that to say, like, you know, and that's a testimony for us because, you know, God spared, like, God was with us. I mean, that sickness tried to take us out. And there has never been a time in our house where both of us have been sick together like that and down. So our children see us laying around all day. They see their dad sleeping like almost all day long throughout the day for 2 weeks. And they would ask, can they go to the park and stuff like that. And, you know, we just had to keep telling them we're not feeling well right now. So y'all, we just got to push through. Please bear with me and mom. Like, dad would be like, with me and mom, please. And I was like, y'all, please just bear with us. Me and dad, we're not feeling very well. We just got to be laid down until we feel better. So we didn't really explain to them until we were pretty much at the end of our sickness and we were starting to feel better. Like, you know, that we were really, really sick and stuff like that. We didn't tell nobody. Anywho, so September came around. I still thank God for that. I praise God for that, for August. I really do give God praise for August, and just, he did it. But so September, so the first week of September, I went to Millions Conference. And if you're not familiar with that, Tiffany Montgomery, follow her on Instagram. She's a woman of God. She's a prophetess, but she's also known for like her business, business. Because when I found her on Instagram, I saw a post that she did that she was making like $100,000 a month from e-commerce. So I started following her from there. But the one thing about her, she doesn't talk business. She talks God. She's a prophet. And she has this service every month called Covered by God here in Atlanta. And then she does Millions Conference every year. And I have been trying to get to Millions Conference for the past 2 years, but I just never had the opportunity to go. So y'all, it came up. I bought my ticket, I think, back in June when she opened it up for early bird tickets. I bought my ticket then. I was like, Lord, I don't know how. I only had about maybe $300 or $400 in my account at that time. I was like, Lord, I'm finna get this ticket because I got to be there. And I by faith, I bought it. And even when the time came around for me to fly and stuff like that, like, I had been procrastinating, y'all, because I wasn't really thinking about how I was going to take this trip, because my husband was trying to figure out how we all could go, since that was a time like go visit family and stuff like that. But I didn't feel that in my heart that at this time everybody should be trying to take this trip. I just really felt like this was a time for me to go and venture out on my own as mom. It was just something that was needed for me. And I just didn't want the hassle of the family being with me. I was going to be gone for 3 days, and I didn't want that. I just wanted to be able to be at the conference and get everything and go back to my room and kind of just sit in it, because this was a prophetic conference for entrepreneurs, and it was amazing. So September, the first week of September, so September 1st, I flew out, or September 2nd. I was so nervous, y'all, because I felt like everything was trying to come up. I felt guilt. I felt like I'm leaving my family. I felt like, oh my God, I'm going to take this trip by myself. It was a first, and for me to be flying, I haven't flown in like 15 years. From the time I graduated high school, 2005, I went to the military. And that was the first and last time I flew. So that was like, I see the moon. That was like the first and last time I had flown on a plane was 15 years ago. And so to be flying and, going, and I was anticipating staying by myself. Like, I didn't think I would be there with anybody. And so, yeah, after this, I wish I did get my own room and stuff and just really enjoy some time by myself and alone. And but I didn't. I ended up, a good friend of mine from back home, she went too, so I roomed with her. but I did have the last night to myself. But Millions Conference was amazing, and I will definitely be in the building next year if it's the Lord's will for me to be there again, and hopefully my husband can go this time around. But that really set the tone for the month of September for me, and it gave me so much boldness and confidence that okay, Crystal, you can do stuff by yourself, because I I've been going through like this personal development thing for a long time now. I called it a lifestyle change when I had my first daughter back in 2014. I was like, oh my God, I'm finna have a daughter. I got to get my mind right. So it's been a journey. I think the last 3 years have been the most extensive for me, where I've really opened up and, kind of really seen progress. But back then when I started, I didn't have what and who I needed. I didn't have the guidance. I was turning to God, but I wasn't turning to God. So it was a lot. But that was my first time like venturing out on my own without my husband, or feeling like he had to go, or feeling like my kids had to go. Like I just knew that I had to go do this by myself. Like I had to have these first time experiences in my life that were specifically for me, because every decision I would make will always be based around my children and my husband and this and that. And I almost felt guilty for it, but I told my husband, I was like, no, I have to go, and I'm doing this by myself. So I will see y'all when I get back. So I was gone for 3 days, and that was a great experience. So that started the month. And the crazy thing about it is that, me and my husband, we struggle, and when I left, me and him would talk and stuff like that. Like, it was just, I'm like, okay, you got to give me my space during this time too. Just because I'm not home doesn't mean that you can call me 24/7. I'm at a conference. So, I see that's so pretty. Y'all see her. You want them to see what you're watching? She's watching that on YouTube. So I just had to set that boundary, and that was one of the first times ever too where I had to actually set boundaries and stick to it. And it really showed me that I was like afraid to set boundaries for myself or do things for myself, and really accept that it's okay for me to be doing this. And it was hard for my family to accept that too, because they're not used to me leaving them and going places, especially flying. Like, they're used to my husband leaving for a period of time and coming back, or because he lived here in Georgia for like a year, like 3 years ago, and they were just used to him being gone and coming back, but they weren't used to that for me. And I'm like, okay, y'all gonna have to get used to this, okay, because I got to go. Okay. So Millions was amazing. It was very refreshing. It was renewing. I was just like, Lord, I'm going here emptied, and I just want you to fill me up. I know nothing. I'm act like I don't know nothing but you, and I just need you to fill me up. And that's exactly what it was. And it did so much spiritually that even when I came back home, there has been a big difference in my home, in my marriage, between me and my husband. It's just a whole testimony right now. A lot of the things that I was hearing at this conference, my husband was actually listening to and studying back home, which is just from different, like, no, Ren, leave it. She's trying to sweep the floor. Leave it, Ren. So I knew that I needed to be there, and yeah, so we went throughout the month. My husband and I have connected on another level, and these are the little things that you don't think about. And then the last week of the month, we flew out as a family for the first time on the plane. Like, this was very last minute. But here in Georgia, they do fall break the last week of September, so that is very new for us. They do a lot of week-long breaks here in Cobb County. So we were like, okay, this will be the opportunity for us to go back home and visit my parents, because we haven't been back home in 3 months. And I was like, yeah, we need to do it this time, because I don't know if I'll be traveling again for the next 3 months, just because I'm getting closer to the time that I have the baby. If we do, it'll be Thanksgiving break. But we went, and I was like, I can't drive. I cannot drive to Florida. I can't sit in the car that long. I don't want to sit in the car that long. So we had to make it work, and we all flew. We flew our kids for the first time. My husband and I flew on a plane together for the first time. We flew as a family for the first time, there and back, and it was amazing. It all worked out great. So that was a first for us too. And I feel like it's opening. September was a month. Oh gosh. Okay, here we go. So I feel like September, the ninth month, that's like a birthing. The nine is for birth, right? And I really feel like a lot was birthed spiritually in the month of September. So it's not that I was looking for like monetary expectations, which monetary expectations are something big, and miracles, signs, and wonders, because this is miracles when you look at it the right way. But, there was something new that was birthed in my marriage, in my mind, in our family, in our home, to be creating these experiences of, what do you want? Yep. To be creating these new experiences. So to fly, my parents, I've never traveled out of, like, I've never flown anywhere with my parents. I've never, yeah, my husband either. So to do this with our family and fly was amazing. So it was like that one thing that we needed to really open up our minds and open up our kids' minds to experiences. A lot just happened in September. So that's why it's a September to remember. And it was little things, but it's those, sorry. No. Here. I gotta get you some paper. Don't write over there. Right there. So it's the little things that build up to become like an avalanche in your life. And I wasn't looking for the avalanche. I was looking for the little things that will begin to become the puzzle pieces to open up our minds to new things, especially being here in Georgia. I've always said that, Crystal, I tell myself this all the time. I'm like, Crystal, you can't be the same person you were. Your family is not going to be the same. Your marriage is not going to be the same. Nothing is going to be the same for you. And September was that month, so here we are in October. Kids are going back to school. Yeah, I'm just tired. Yeah, entering into the third trimester of pregnancy. So that went by really fast. Baby will be here before we know it. And I honestly cannot wait to hold her. Rin? What? She stopped looking down the hallway. What? Where are you going with my book? Thank you. You want to watch something else? Watch Dougie, Bluey? Bluey? I think you over this now. So, third trimester, baby is supposed to be here January 2nd. It's coming fast, y'all. So I'm currently looking for a doula, not a doula, a midwife, I guess. Because I'm still contemplating this natural birth thing, but I also don't want to stress it either. Because I felt like I was stressing it for the past month that I wanted to have a natural birth. But you know what? And I didn't want to have the baby in the hospital. All just things that are going on in the world, but I think that's me allowing fear to take place in this pregnancy, and I don't want to do that. What? Bluey? What? There you go. And I had to catch myself, I think, a couple days ago, or when we were just back home in Florida, and kind of tell myself, like, okay, I'm allowing this to overwhelm me. This is my fourth kid in, like fifth child in, and I'm acting like, you know, there's a difference when you get more education. So it's like every pregnancy, there's something else. But, since COVID happened, it has really opened up my mind to really educate myself about pregnancy, and trying to put in my mind that, okay, my body was made to birth a child. So I've had an epidural for all of my pregnancies. I mean, from the beginning, as soon as they tell me I can get it, it's just like, okay, cool. I think the longest I went with like contractions and feeling it was with my son, which he was my first child. And I think I didn't know what was going on. Of course, I'm young. It's my first baby. It's just like, and I think I went through those contractions for, I think, till I was like 6 or 7 centimeters, I guess. I was feeling those. But it's like after that, with the rest of my pregnancy, I was like, as soon as they told me that I can get an epidural, I'm like, please give it to me, because I didn't want to feel no pain. But now it's not even challenging myself. It's just putting in my mind that my body was made to birth a child. And if I stay prayed up and I prepare myself and allow God to really speak to me during this pregnancy, that I can do it. So even if I don't have the baby in a birthing center, or I had plans to have the baby in a birthing center and get a midwife or a doula and stuff like that. And I did my research, and I'm like, all of the midwives or doulas that I'm finding around here, they're into like this new age stuff, like placenta encapsulation. I don't believe in that stuff, because I feel like you are eating flesh. Like, why would you want to encapsulate that and eat it? So I don't want anybody guiding me through my labor or pregnancy that believes in stuff like that, because obviously they don't believe in God. So to be encapsulating placenta and taking it to say this was nutrients and nourishment, no, you're putting your blood and you're putting this thing that was attached to your baby back in your body. I don't know. I hope y'all get what I'm saying, but I don't want nobody that believes in that. I don't want anybody that believes in, like, the crystals and uh herbs are good. I'm not saying like doing a natural way of doing things isn't good, but it's the way that you practice it. So I don't want nobody practicing like the herbs and natural healing stuff in a new age way. So it's been pretty tough to find a midwife and a doula that doesn't do all of that, at least a black one here in Georgia. And then there's not many options from what I look at, because if they don't do all of that stuff, then they're like far away from me. So after that, I'm just like, I let that thought go, because it's not that I need someone to tell me how to birth or tell me how to, because I know by the grace of God, he'll give me the wisdom, he will guide me through. But I don't know. That's what YouTube is for, I guess. So I guess I just need to let that whole midwife doula thing go. As I'm talking this out, I guess that's just really what I need to do, and just allow like God's grace and his strength to be with me to birth this baby naturally. And even if it's in the hospital, I just didn't want to have a baby in the hospital. But y'all, knowing me, I might be like, okay, I need the epidural. What else? But I'm still going to be looking for a natural, like a birthing center that I can go to, because I think it's more about the comfort for me this time around. I don't want to be in a hospital setting. I don't want to be in a hospital bed. I don't want to hear all of the stuff beeping. I don't want to, and I feel like if I'm going to go for natural, I do want a very calming a natural environment. I don't want to be hooked up to, all of this IV stuff. And I just don't want all of that. Not saying that I have to, but I just don't want all of that. I don't. So, yeah. And then yeah, it's just a lot. So that was something else that happened for me in September. It was like I was just so stuck on my way of giving birth that now I'm seeing that I got to let that go. It's like I have a desire for the way, and it's my main desire is that I just want to have a natural birth, because I really truly believe that this is going to be my last baby, and I want to experience it naturally and just feel what my body is supposed to do during that time. So it's gonna be interesting to go from having, 4 births with medication and IVs and all of this stuff. But I just want to labor the right, like properly. Like I want to be able to get up and move around. I want to be able to sit on a ball. I want to be able to really connect with my husband during this time and feel his comfort, during my labor, while I might be feeling I'm not going to call it pain, but the discomforts of giving birth. I want to be able to feel him and connect with him and just just something different, because that's how much me and my husband have grown, that I want it to be an experience for both of us. And I just want to really feel that connection of me and him, like bringing something into this world that we had to connect to create through love. And so that's really what, ultimately, that's what I want. And I just feel like a birthing center would really be ideal. I thought about a home birth, but I don't think a home birth will work, because we're in an apartment and stuff like that, and to be in labor and all of that at home, no. So we were in the house, it would be a different story, but we're not. So a birthing center or in the hospital, either way, I just want to be able to connect with my husband naturally. So I just thank God for that awareness, that was something that was becoming kind of like a thing for me, being worried about how I'm going to have this baby. And that's not my worry. That I'm just supposed to trust God and know that, and let him know, like, Lord, I desire to have a natural birth, and I'm asking for your strength, and I'm asking for your covering, your protection, because this is what you created us to do. And you didn't create us to be heavily medicated during birth. Like, you created us to feel this discomfort. And I think the other reason why I want to feel it too and just go through and do it naturally is because I feel like that's just the time of my life that I'm in. No help, no medication, no seeking out people, no, like, trust that I can do this with God, and he is enough right now. His grace is sufficient, right? That is just how I feel about this season of my life. Like, there are a lot of things that are comfortable, but trusting in the grace of God and knowing that his grace is sufficient. So that even means letting go of doing what's comfortable. That means letting go of my way of doing things. That means letting go of trying to call this person and seek that person and feel like I need a coach for this and mentor for that. That includes birth. That I can do it all with the grace of God. Like, that's just where I am in my life. So, y'all, I'm just like, I know I can do this. I know I could push this baby out. Although I don't want to feel this ring of fire thing that they be talking about. But, God is great. I believe that there are other ways that I can prepare myself for this birth and not focus so much on the pain of it all, but focus more on the joy of it all, and that the pain or the discomfort that I'll feel is all a part of the process. So, yeah. So that's what's been going on in my life, y'all. This month of October, I am studying more, seeking God more, praying more, really just getting in my word more. It's been a long time since I've spent like hours in the morning, at least 3 hours, like just devotion and reading. And that's kind of what I did this morning. Reading about, because my focus for this month of October is freedom, you know, who I am, who God says I am, and also studying wisdom and just asking God for more wisdom in every area of my life. You know, as something new happens in your life, you need the wisdom and the discernment to go through, but you also need the freedom that you have in God to go through it too. So I've been going through that. I've also been reading, I'm reading this book, The Bondage Breaker by Neil T. Anderson. When I was back home just last week, my mom has this book and I started to kind of go through it. So I ordered it and it was here waiting for me when we got home off the plane. So I'm reading this. And then I also have my Life Recovery Bible, which is a really great Bible. It's made for, it's actually for like the NA, people who have dealt with addiction. But I think we're always going through recovery in our lives, and this Bible has been really great for devotions, and the commentary in it is good, and it just has a lot to give when you are, you know, really learning to become whole and to be who you are in God. So this Bible has been great for that as well. So these are the two things that I am doing for October. Bondage Breaker and the Life Recovery Bible, studying freedom and studying wisdom for this month. So that is about it. I just want to do a quick update of my September. I'm going to put all of our my footage from our flight and stuff like that, and a little bit of what we did. The only thing I vlogged in Florida was we went to the beach and it was amazing. So I'll put that footage in another video. Like, I just call it this time of our life the time of many first times, and many, M-A-N-Y. And the first times that I have been having has been amazing this year so far. So God is great. And that's it, y'all. So follow me on Instagram, Crystal Clayton _. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm tired. Yeah, I'm a little tired right now, and I have a couple more things I need to do before one of the kids come home. The first kid comes home. They all come home within like 30 minutes of each other. So I'm going to do some stuff for Fearless Money Inc., which I have some great stuff coming for that. And then that's about it. So God is amazing, y'all. I have dubbed this month October, not October, October, because, you know, I'm just in awe of everything God has been doing. And I do declare Deuteronomy 1:11, you know, that he is multiplying me and my family 1,000 times greater, and that's in every area of life. So I speak that over you as well. I'm tired, y'all. So, let me go.